Yes, yes, Kenya. Tamu sana, tamu sana, tamu sana, yes. The center can no longer hold. Things are falling apart in Kenya Kwanza. Everything the government tries doing ends up backfiring very badly. Since William Ruto took over the government about 1 year ago, it has been moving from bad to worse. And it's now towards worst. Anything this government tries doing ends up failing miserably. A few days ago, we saw what happened in Kericho during Mashujaa Day celebrations. Instead of Kenyans actually celebrating their heroes, it turned into a funeral where some Kenyans in that part of the country lost their lives because of the deplorable state of Kericho Green Stadium. So it failed badly. William Ruto and his team have been on record saying they were going to fight the cartels, coffee tea cartels, and Rigathi has been very specific on that. They have been talking about some cartels hijacking everything. I want us to listen to some remarks Rigathi made today. The remarks are going to form the basis of our analysis right now.
Just a few weeks ago, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua said he was facing pushback from brokers and middlemen in the coffee sector in his drive to institute reforms. Before then, he had indicated that he would crush cartels and get rid of middlemen. And now, this is his latest pronouncement.
We have nothing against them. All we are asking, can we share the profit with you? Don't take everything.
I consider this politics of conmanship. Rigathi, who has been attacking some imaginary cartels, is now saying that they have no problem with the cartels. They want to share the profits with the cartels. I consider that as conmanship. What's exactly happening here, ladies and gentlemen? Let me start by saying this. William Ruto and his team came to power on the basis of propaganda. And they must continuously use that propaganda to sustain their rule. That's what is happening here, ladies and gentlemen. In the first place, there were no cartels. That was just an excuse William Ruto and his team were using. There were no cartels, and if at all there were some cartels, then Rigathi and his team, the Kenya Kwanza Brigade, were the cartels. So they failed to deliver. They just wanted an excuse. And the excuse was some imaginary cartels who are blocking farmers from getting the profits. Kenyans should know that and understand it very clearly. Secondly, William Ruto and his team, in this case Rigathi, they are very clueless on governance. And for those who have been following me here, I've always maintained that even if given 100 years, they'll never get it right. They'll never get it right because their own integrities are questioned. I believe that they don't just pass that test on leadership and integrity. They are rich, quick kind of leaders. Instead of using public offices to benefit the people, they are using those public offices to benefit themselves. And in this case, when Rigathi says that they want to share the profits with the cartels, I'm very certain that Rigathi means what he's saying. Himself as Rigathi Gachagua, he wants to share the profits with the cartels. It has got nothing completely to do with the people. For those who can remember some times back, Rigathi said it very well that some cartels tried bribing him and he refused. That was Rigathi some times back. The same Rigathi is now saying he has no problem with the cartels. Let them share the profits. So Rigathi is just trying to reach out to these imaginary cartels for him to get a share. That only means that it's the government that is the cartel. Those dealing in coffee and tea, they must give a portion of their profits to some top government officials for them to be allowed to continue sitting on Mount Kenya farmers. Something also coming out very, very clearly. It's a fact now that William Ruto and his team, it's a fact, no doubt about this, are very, very incompetent. It's a fact. They don't have the solution. The head is rotten and the tail is equally rotten. So who will save Kenya? Or rather, who will save Kenyans? Kenyans brought this upon themselves, and in the foreseeable future, I'm seeing Kenyans still going to suffer. And they still have that power to save themselves from a William Ruto Rigathi yoke. And they can only do that by making sure they reject politics of propaganda. William Ruto and his team should stop all this propaganda. It's time they should settle and start delivering on their promises. It can't be one excuse after the other. If they are not blaming Raila and Uhuru, they are blaming the handshake. If not the handshake, it's Ukraine-Russia war. And listening to Rigathi Gachagua today, and even yesterday, he has started talking about Israel-Hamas war. So this is a team that is very clueless, but they're just praying very hard for an excuse, an scapegoat. In fact, when the Israel and Hamas war started, I'm very sure Rigathi Gachagua was very happy, and the Kenya Kwanza Brigade, in that they had found something they'll use to cheat their supporters as to why they are not delivering. It's coming out clearly. As I conclude, we are working on a very interesting video where William Ruto also made a U-turn today. He talked about El Nino rain sometimes back. Today he has made a U-turn and he's saying that Mungu amesaidia sasa, there will be no El Nino rains. And already, millions of taxpayers' money has been spent in preparation for the El Nino rains. That's an analysis we are working on. And in our subsequent video, maybe today or tomorrow, we'll actually release that video. Those watching us but who have not yet subscribed, subscribe, give this video a like. Any person who may want to support our forum, contact me through that number. Let's meet in our next analysis. Thank you.
Hatutakuwa tunatafuta madeni kutoka China na mahali ingine ambayo sasa inatuletea kisirani.
Speaking during the Kenya-China Investment Forum in the Chinese capital, Beijing, President William Ruto revealed that Kenya is seeking funds to extend the construction of the standard gauge railway project from Naivasha to the Kenya-Uganda border in Malaba.
The reason why we are discussing with China on extending the standard gauge railway beyond Naivasha.
The Kenyan president is seeking another loan of about $1 billion from China to complete a stalled road construction project, shifting his earlier stance when his coalition had accused the former president of excessive borrowing during last year's election campaign.